So on today's episode, you're going to be listening to an interview I had with Tyler Sullivan. He's the founder of Bombtech Golf. And we're going to be talking about why doing what you love will never make you feel like it's work. It's a great episode you don't want to miss, so do stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome to the 2x e-commerce podcast show. I'm your host, Kunle Campbell. I'm going to bring the mic close to me. And this is a podcast dedicated to rapid growth in online retail. So if you're working in marketing or a founder at an e-commerce business, I'm going to help you sell more by bringing in experts, e-commerce business owners and best-in-class e-commerce SaaS solutions. The focus of this podcast really is helping you with growth metrics. So improving metrics such as conversions, average order value, repeat customers, your audience size, and ultimately sales. Anyway, that's 2x e-commerce in a nutshell, and I'd like to introduce Tyler Sully. Now, Tyler Sully is somebody I've known for a few years now, virtually. This is our first time actually speaking. He's a founder of Bombtech Golf. It's an e-commerce store with over $15 million sold since 2012. I think you've done more, as in you're doing like $7 million a year.
We got to update that number, but we'll roll with it. Yeah,
exactly.
We're getting 8 figures.
He also runs e-commerce grower. They're Klaviyo agency, and you know how we love Klaviyo on here. They're doing 6 figures a month, so they have a tidy client base of about 25 clients. It's a done for you e-commerce, email marketing service, company. And Tyler says he works 3 hours a day. We're going to drill that. Anyway, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Tyler. It's an absolute pleasure having you on.
Glad to be here. It's been long overdue. Glad we could do it.
Absolutely. Before we kick off today's show, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Did you know that cloud-hosted e-commerce platforms like Shopify and BigCommerce do not provide automatic backups? Rewind steps in to protect Shopify and BigCommerce stores with automatic backups. Rewind is trusted by over 25,000 stores. Install Rewind and get to test it for free over 7 days. And to extend the 7-day trial to 30 days, head over to rewind.io, their website, and mention 2x e-commerce. Okay, could you briefly introduce yourself, Bombtech, e-com growers, everything that you're up to, just in a summary, please?
Yeah, being brief is not my strong suit, but I'll do my best.
Let's give it a go.
Yeah. I started Bombtech Golf. We're a direct consumer golf manufacturer in 2012, totally by accident. I was just obsessed with golf. Wanted to make my own products. Didn't even know what e-commerce was. Kind of just documented that story on Facebook, and now grew it to, typically we do between 5 and 7 million a year with 2 employees. From that success, we were written up in a Klaviyo case study 3 years ago. My first employee at Bombtech, who ran all my email, is now my partner at eCom Growers. We're a platinum agency at Klaviyo, and we help other eCom brands like myself profit more with email marketing. And to your point, I honestly, like this summer in particular, really did not work a lot. I do enjoy working. Like, don't say I'm not, like, because I used to work 20 hours a day, 7 days a week for 4 years. But I realized a lot of stuff I was doing didn't really move the needle and was not a big lever. So that was a hard realization for me. And one big thing, I've got 2 kids now. When I had my daughter, I just said, hey, why am I working so much? And I took 6 weeks off, and sales went up. So that was my epiphany. And I've had multiple over 8 years that I'm not that important, right? And then I can hire people that are smarter than myself.
I like that.
Enjoy a business that, in August we did 1.2 million in a month, and I was fishing every day with my kids. So it's kind of crazy. And it takes, I don't expect everyone to come out of the gate like, hey, I'm going to work 3 hours a day, 3 hours a week, whatever, and expect that. You got to figure it out, and then you can scale and hire and, do all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you've paid your dues. I mean, you founded Bombtech Golf 2012. You must have worked, 12-hour days back in the days, and the dividends all piled up, and there you are. What I am surprised about is the fact that you have only 2 employees. You really keep it lean. How do you do, such huge figures? So basically the revenue per head, including you, is three, yeah, two, not 3 million, yeah, 2 million, right? My
Yeah,
math,
it's really high. Like
how do you manage? Do you have like an army of freelancers, working on the side, contractors? What does your warehouse look like?
yeah, great question. So again, like when I first started, just to kind of go full circle with it, I
Mm,
was assembling clothes myself, shipping myself, doing everything myself. And, it was the most I worked ever and the least I made ever, right?
mm,
And what I realized, I had gone through different periods of time where I had a lot of employees, I had an office, we were shipping ourselves. And I just realized there's people that are faster, better, higher ROI, and just can do those things better than I. So my setup's really simple. I do have customer service in-house, two
mm.
guys, and I pay them a lot for customer service. Everyone seems to want to pay little for that, but we have a high average order value product, and I really want to wow customers. I really spend a lot to truly wow them. But my setup is two guys in-house for customer service. I have a 3PL, which is centrally located based on best place to ship, which is Wisconsin. They do a great job, very
Okay.
affordable. Their shipping rates alone, I could go down a million tangents, but I'll just give you a high level. Just by using a 3PL, it saved me like 200 grand a year.
What's the
Versus
name?
me,
What's the name of the 3PL company you use?
they're a smaller company.
Okay.
Phil Logistics, Todd's the
Village.
owner. I could
Okay.
intro anyone if they like. They do a great
Okay.
job.
Okay.
And then I have my agency, which runs my email and my text message, which is Ecom Growers,
Mm-hmm.
a paid traffic guy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I just have a couple freelance video and photo guys that literally I just made SOPs. And this sounds boring, but like this is how you shoot the photos, this is how you shoot the videos. And now when new products come, they just automatically ship to them.
Okay.
And boom, we got all the content. We've got our
Are,
ad guy,
are we
email.
talking? Are we talking product videos or model, videos in terms of like, lifestyle videos? So
For us,
videos and
it's
stuff.
mostly product specific.
Okay.
Like we
Okay.
have one guy in that's actually a customer, which is kind of cool, in Colorado,
Okay.
who will shoot B-roll, and he'll just shoot on the course, and then our ads guy will actually edit it up with just text overlay, just based on what he knows works with ads. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And
How
that's
how do
kind of the form that works.
how do you prioritize their workload if they're not full time with you, especially the creatives? Sometimes they have a pile of work to go through, and if you do not, put it in good time, if your pipeline is if the pipeline is full, then there might be delivery issues. How do you manage that?
Yeah. So I have like 3 or 4
Okay.
video photo guys,
Okay.
but they're pretty quick on turnaround. Like we never really have issues with that. They know me. We've got a good relationship. Um, and it's just the one thing with like the ads and email and everything. I have a KPI, right? So
Mhm.
like how I look at it is I don't really need to be in contact with them if
Mhm.
KPIs are being hit, right?
Mhm.
As long as we're hitting our goals, I set the business up to only let me know if we're not hitting goals, right?
Okay.
So as long as they're hitting goals, I'm happy. Revenue's up, profits up. I don't need to be communicating with them a lot. Like what I try to focus on, like I look at myself as like I need to have the vision of where we're going and how we're getting there. And really for me, it's the best job in the world because I'm just a product tester. I
Mhm.
design new products with our factory and our engineer. We got a third party engineer who's on contract when we need them. And I take feedback from customers over like 2 or 3 years. We'll have a product on the market. And let's say they say this driver, the shaft is too stiff, too soft. We'll just iterate if that comment keeps coming up over and over and over and make a new version. So it's the best feedback loop because it's not me just making stuff I think the customers want. They tell me, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? So I
Mhm.
just manage those different people. And it's really just, I actually would love to hire more people if they could show me new added revenue or bigger levers we could pull. But
Mhm.
really outside of paid traffic, email and SMS, I mean, there's not a lot of massive opportunities that I see. And maybe it's a limiting belief, but you got to spend it to make it, and you got to have an active list.
I agree, and we're going to talk about that now. Let's go. Let's take 2 steps back. Let's talk about Phil Logistics and the 3PL company based in Minnesota. You said.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, sorry.
Close.
We're very close. My geography is wrong. How
Yeah,
did they
good.
give you 200 grand?
So I actually moved 3PLs 4 times. So
Okay.
this was one of those lessons that I'm a slow learner. So it took me a number of times, and really control was the reason why it took me 4 moves to figure out the right location. Like if I did everything over, this was where I'm getting to how we saving so much money. I wanted to ship locally because I wanted control. In Vermont, which is actually the #1 worst place to ship golf clubs from. Then I moved to Massachusetts for the same thing. I wanted to be close enough I could control them, whatever that means. And then I moved to California to a bigger 3PL. This is when we started to figure out savings. And what they had a different method of shipping that I didn't have access to. And this is like years ago, but this was FedEx Smart Post,
Okay.
which we were just only had access to ground. So they introduced us to Smart Post, and that saved us like $7 a package.
Okay.
And then their dim divisor, our clubs are very long, which is like the calculation of if you divide it by this number, it gives you the price, right?
Yeah.
That alone saved us another like 30%. And then by moving to Wisconsin, this is what I wish I did if I could repeat history. I did calculations based on like 3 years of shipping and found out no matter what, if I had one location, the best place for fastest shipping for customers and the best cost savings is Wisconsin.
Why? I'm looking at it. It's north of Illinois,
Yep.
right? It's very skewed to the Midwest, as far as I could see.
So California, Texas are big for us, Florida, and then we've got Michigan is actually really big, New York. So I let the data dictate. So I don't I have no say in it. And I actually used multiple 3PLs that had multiple locations help me determine this. So I use their data, their expertise, and said, okay, you've got multiple locations. Where do you think would be the best fit? And all of them kept coming up with like Chicago, Wisconsin, like this very small area. So by doing that, it saves time to customer.
Right.
And then it saves us because it's only in like zones, not to get too deep in the weeds. I think we're only in like zones 2 and 3 for most shipments, and we're not getting into the 4 or 5s. So it saves us money outbound, and they've got better rates. And that's the one, like the first thing I always recommend outside of customer service. It's like, why are you shipping stuff yourself? I don't understand the overhead, the warehouse, the people, the equipment. It's so affordable for
some people pride themselves in shipping themselves. I don't know why. So I had the chap from Tidge Hanley, and they're doing 20 million or so, and he that's one of his KPIs. I'm not sure why. As you said, control.
Yeah, I think that's my big epiphanies, and one of them being that I used to micromanage and control everything in the first like 5 years. And then I realized, okay, this is making more work for me. I'm not the best at it. Let me find people that are better and give them the control to do it and do it better than I can. And that's really is the hardest and most difficult thing, because I always want to make the business better, work on it to improve it. But me shipping the product, me packing out the box is not that's not adding any value or anything. It's just adding overhead. So like to full circle this, I think of it as this: when I have everything outsourced, I'm in a more variable cost model, meaning, we spend more when we ship more. We spend less when we ship less. So a really good month is great. A okay month is good. We don't have bad months because my overhead's so lean, and all my costs are variable.
Okay, makes sense and not fixed. You don't have to pay for rent in a warehouse anymore. There are not many salaries to pay. If things are slowing down, you don't need the photographers to hire. They're always on on demand. I see where you're getting to. Okay, I want us to talk about the product. Right, let's get down to, why would I buy a Bombtech and not a Callaway or a Wilson or McGregory, or all the usual suspects? What is special about Bombtech, and how did you build your following?
Yeah, that is a big question. So first off, we guarantee performance. Put it against any product on the market. That's our guarantee. But I mean, like when I started, I just wanted to design something for myself. I was obsessed with golf. I was doing like the home run derby of golf at the time. It's called World Long Drive. I was the worst competitor.
Bless
But
you.
I hit my longest drive in a competition was 360 yards. So that's my claim to fame.
Okay.
But they were hitting 450. So anyways, I just started breaking clubs on my own, started building my own, and just felt like, I don't know, I want to make my own product.
Are you an engineer or product guy by background, or you know?
So like it's funny, I just had this idea or vision of what I wanted to make, and I contacted my local college where I barely graduated, the University of Vermont, which took me 5 years. I had a great time. I was in the frat there, played rugby. It was
Good times.
Good times. But I wasn't a great student. And I was talking to one of my friends from the fraternity. I was like, hey, I want to design something. He's like, you're not that smart. I was like, you're right. So I called up the university.
Let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. Klaviyo is a growth marketing platform that powers over 25,000 online businesses. Klaviyo understands every single customer interaction and empowers brands to create more personalized marketing moments. Listen, analyze, and act on your customer data with Klaviyo. Visit klaviyo.com/2x.
And I worked with 4 students, engineering students, for a year, and we designed a driver. And I said, all right. And I took a huge risk at the time, and I cashed out my 401k.
Whoa.
And I made it. I don't know why I did all the things I did.
How much you pay them? The chaps?
Oh, it was a what were they called?
Dissertation or something, or
capstone project. So it doesn't cost you anything. I think it does cost you a couple grand.
Okay.
But all my costs was just in my time, and then the original tooling, and then our first sample production run. But really, I just started telling that story as it grew on Facebook, early days. So like when I had 2,000 followers on Facebook, it was really 2,000 people, right? So like when I launched with 2,000 followers, I think I sold, this is before Facebook ads even existed. Not to date myself, but even before the selfie, that's my big joke. And I think I sold like 10 grand in a day on pre-order without ads, nothing. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Let me just do more of this. And since then, we just keep making products that are priced well, that perform well. And we really are for the regular golfer. You know, we do everything opposite of everyone else. We don't pay pros. We're not in retail. So there is a ton of value in the product to a point that we probably should raise prices, but the guys would kill me.
Okay.
But it's direct consumer, you know?
Yeah, I'm not a golf guy. I'm more tennis. However, I'm looking at the iron, the one iron. So the Golf 3.0 one iron, which goes for like $97, right?
Yep.
What's the equivalent if it was like a Callaway?
You know, I don't know exactly what they're selling theirs for, but typically our products are about a half the price.
Okay.
So I mean, like the wedges are a good example of like that's a product that is, you know, it's almost to the point where we've asked ourselves, the product's so good, right? We have the margins to sell them at a low price so that customers get a lot of value. But I'm like, at what point do we have to raise our price because the products do deserve it and be more premium? So we kind of slowly have been going that route a little bit, but I can't steer away from who our customer is, which is the average guy that wants to have fun. It doesn't want to pay $1,000 for an iron set or $500-$600 for just a driver, you know. And we got because I run so lean, I do have the flexibility to make offers that move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate because it's a super competitive space. Somehow people like me, which is thank you. And a lot of the videos were me early days, just in the backyard hitting balls, and that was kind of. It's funny, I had my first kid and I made this video in my backyard where I hit into a net and it sounds like a gun goes off. It's super loud. And I boosted it. This is when Facebook video first happened for $300 and got 10,000 comments, 300,000 views.
Wow.
And I commented on every comment till my thumbs were like bleeding.
Wow.
And that was like just the early day hustle and grind that I decided to do, to engage with every single person. Every phone call I took myself, like I did all those early days I probably worked more than anyone on the planet for 4 or 5 years.
Was it the sole thing you were doing, or did you have a day job?
So this is really the story behind it. But so I had a day job, right? I was a sales director at an engineering firm, and I like doubled their sales in a year. I took that job locally in Vermont because it was more secure than my pharmaceutical sales job I had previous. And Bombtech was just a side hustle. I was doing like 10K a month. And then I found out my wife was pregnant, and I got fired the day before Thanksgiving. Or the week before Thanksgiving, and I go, and she was so supportive. She goes, "What are you gonna do? You gonna make Bombtech full time or what?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." I didn't even know that was an option. And that was probably the hardest year of my life because I had a newborn, and I was still assembling clothes myself. And the business was, although it's starting to have some traction, I had no cash, because like I was doing 20, 30, 40K a month, but then I had to make our own product. And we have 60-day lead time. So I'm like, all right, I'm doing 30K a month. I have $0. So that year was very difficult. A lot of working capital loans, debt, and but it was the kick in the butt. Like, you want to talk about pressure, having a newborn, being fired from your job. It was like one of those, this is your moment, man. You either make it or you don't,
Yeah. Makes sense. Right. So just going back to the students and the university, was that 2011, 2010?
Yeah,
Because you
so I think
started,
that
okay.
was 2000. I screw all the years up every time.
Yeah.
I think it was 2012 into 2013 because I started the world's worst website where I sold nothing in 2011.
Okay.
And then I think 2013 was the original when we had our own brand.
Okay. Now you talk about the fact that you're a paid guy. You're a paid, marketing, guy. So what paid channels is Bombtech most active in?
Facebook and Instagram have been, since Facebook offered ads, we've been doing them. Recently, Google's been big for us. I think this right now is an interesting time specifically for golf, not only for golf, but for e-commerce, right? Because more people are shopping online than ever before. But so we're having two trends happen. Golf is trending for the first time in 20 years. It's always been going down. It's trending up, which is nice. So more people are searching it. So we've been going hard at Google. We've been going hard at SEO. And really, I think a lot of people that would normally go into a retail store to buy a golf club have now fast forwarded their thinking on online, or like, well, I'll just buy it online. And we've been online only for 8 years. We're like, hey, we've been here the whole time. So it's a culmination of things. So we've actually struggled on selling out this year. I really have been selling out. We had a lot more opportunity this year that I lost out on. And all of it really was Facebook, Instagram, and Google. That's really it. We try other things, and I pull my hair out trying new initiatives because a lot of times it's like a lot of effort, and we always go back to the core, right? So it's really that simple. But we leverage a lot of back end email, and then SMS has been big lately. The hype launch method really allows our paid traffic to be really profitable.
What's a hype launch? What's the hype launch process?
All right, so I'm giving away my secrets now, but this has been like, especially, for our clients in the e-com grower side and for my own brand, I remember when we would launch a new driver, let's say, and we literally just would send an email like, hey, it's here, it's live. And we would have like a small spike in sales. And then I can't remember the inflection point, like when we actually started hyping, but what we do now is we have two-way conversations with our email list, right? All the time. So we're literally asking people to reply. We're asking them how their round is. We're just having real conversations and keeping our list engaged. And what we'll do is, let's say we're coming out with a new 66-degree wedge, whatever it is, or 1-iron. We'll ask them, and we'll vary it up, but it runs a pretty basic template. We'll ask them, hey, we're launching this new product. Do you want early access? Hit reply, boom, if you want early access. Okay, so now all those people that were going to the promotions tab are now in the inbox, right? Because they replied. Then we can tag them, see if they replied. Then we'll do other activities. So we'll hype it probably 6 to 10 emails before launch. and there'll be a various, questions, content, when you're going to get it, early access, special deal. Like there's this whole flow that we have where it's just a two-way conversation, and then we launch, and
Okay.
then we follow up, and then we just follow up and follow up and follow up. So we turned a one singular email into like, and again, I'm not in the email anymore. The agency is.
Okay.
So like I'd have to ping them, but now we turn like one singular email into like 15 or 20 emails.
And the recipients of this email are pre-qualified from the get-go. So you start out with, are you interested, and then you funnel
Yep.
them down through the flow. Okay. And do these emails in the flow have any links, or do you just
So our rule of thumb is really simple: one call to action all the time. So if it's a reply, that's it. It's a reply. There's no link. If it's a link to buy, it's a link to buy. Like we may have various, like a link or a button, but it's always to do one thing, right?
Yeah. Then you mentioned two-way conversations. With two-way conversations, Alex Bella from Postscript was saying, SMS is one of the best ways to have that, conversation. How did you find, our product? What do you think? How are you doing? Where you you've also mentioned the fact that you have an active, SMS list or text list. Where you finding, higher engagement from a two-way conversation, email or SMS?
Email is still the core. We use Postscript, and we love it. It's definitely been one of the new channels we've added, and been like, okay, this is a home run. But we still, although I have guys on staff that reply to every text, every email, text is still a little more intimate. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where if we're going to send a text, it's got to be worth sending. Email we send, like another example, like, what do you want to call this new club? Like, what color is it? AB. There's a lot of different questions we ask that we wouldn't ask in text. So we try to be a little more precise with it. But it's like, you'll see, like when we have a launch day or something big coming up, almost two mountains. You have your email mountain on the Shopify dashboard, and then you have like the text will be another blip on the radar. So it's definitely having a big impact. And it's just one of those things where I think it takes time to train the audience. Like we've done an okay job at training our audience and our customers that we're going to ask you to reply. We're going to launch early. We want you to help name the club and feel a part of the process, right? Because that's all I did on Facebook when I was designing my driver 8 years ago. I'm like, hey guys, this is what it's going to look like. What do you think? Or like, hey, I'm thinking about this color paint. What do you think? What should we call it? Grenade or this? And like, so it's just that, like, honestly, this is the concept. It's like, as an owner, you want to know what your customers want? Like, and there's questions I don't know the answer to. And like, for example, I launched a product that I thought was going to kill it. Like, it was a beer putt. It was beer pong of golf. And I'm like, we're going to sell this in an hour. And this was like 3-4 years ago. And it was the worst launch we've ever had. And it was one of the few where we didn't engage, communicate. This was like before we did this, and we just launched it. And I didn't realize the audience didn't want it. We ended up selling it, but that was like early days. I think we were on Constant Contact or some other platform where we didn't have segmenting. We just, it was pre-Klaviyo. We were rookies, but so yeah, it's a different world now,
Question I have is, why not Klaviyo's SMS, or why Postscript?
Yeah, we just were asked that recently. And so I let my partner, who was my first employee at Bombtech at the agency, make those calls. And at the time, Postscript was most affordable and easiest to implement. I didn't even have access to Klaviyo's SMS at the time. So, and I look at technologies as, yes, it's great to do all in one, but really it's like switching can be painful. So unless there's a real measurable benefit of switching, I'm tough to switch. We're Klaviyo guys through and through. I mean, but right now we're using Postscript until he says, hey man, we should go on their SMS.
Okay, I just wanted to figure that out. Okay, cool. Let's get into Google. In the Google front, or on the Google front, are you just doing search, or search in YouTube and the whole content network ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, right now we've been ramping it up. That was one of our weak points, was we really weren't going hard at Google. We were really a Facebook shop for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think kind of what I was mentioning earlier, we're having golf is trending. So there's more opportunity on the Google side. There's more searches. That's why for the first time in many years, I've invested heavily in SEO too. Just because the search volume is higher. So we want to at least take advantage. But I think, and again, I'm not the Google guy. This is where I'm just the owner now, but we're doing a lot of PLA, product listing ads, and definitely some branded search, but it's still not the volume we're doing on Facebook and Instagram. We're still, that's our 85% spend, and then it's Google is like we're getting there. You know what I mean?
Okay. Do you ship internationally?
We do. It's expensive. I had attempted to set up in Australia warehouse, and then like a lot of what I do or how I run the business is how much ROI or revenue can I get for my time and effort. And really, I looked at it as I'm going to have 2 sets of inventory, and it just became too much effort. So what I did, I said, you know what, we're going to have one website. So we do ship worldwide. It's not a huge amount, but we're happy to ship. It's just they're big products,
Okay. And with they're not collapsible. It's
that would be cool. No, you can't collapse them.
No. So that was a volume that you pay more on volume than weight. I can imagine.
Yeah, I've looked at like a million different options and methods to do it, and the U.S. is still just such a big core audience for us, and it's like. I think if we get to maybe a point where it's like, I'm cool with having 2 sets of inventory, but it just became a cash flow discussion that it was too much work. And I hate to say like, oh, it's not worth the money, but at this point in my life, a lot of it is time and effort and the outcome of that,
Makes sense. I also noticed in some of your ads, your front and center. Is that strategic where you're selling your personality, essentially your likability?
I told the ad guy, I'm done. I don't want to be on video anymore. No. I mean, so when I first started, every video was me because I had no one else, right? So it was just I was telling my story. All the emails come from me as the founder. So it really is a accidental personal brand. I kind of went crazy with it about 2 or 3 years ago where like I had like a YouTube channel where I was starting to just upload video after video. And I realized that more content in e-commerce is not necessarily better. And that may be
it probably applies across the board.
Where it's like some people may disagree and be like, you got to be a media house, a content house. But the year I churned out the most content, our sales were the worst.
Let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. Is your e-commerce store powered by Magento, BigCommerce, Commerce Cloud, WooCommerce, or a custom CAT platform? Is it slow? Does it have too many fields or involves too many steps to complete a purchase? Enter Bolt. It's the fastest e-commerce checkout in the industry, period. Bolt loads 10x faster than native checkouts with an average checkout duration of just over 30 seconds. Bolt is mobile native with no scroll on mobile screens. It offers a 0 fraud guarantee and has 42% fewer fields than native checkouts. Bolt supports Stripe, Apple Pay, PayPal, and several more payment gateways and providers. Bolt helped luxury sunglasses brand Dita reduce checkout abandonment by 32%, which resulted in a 50% conversion rate uplift. Don't lose customers at checkout, use Bolt. Bolt is offering a completely free bottom of funnel checkout audit to 2x e-commerce listeners. Head over to bolt.com/2x to get your free checkout audit now. That's bolt.com/2x.
So what I do now is I let my paid expert and my email team say, hey, we need this content. You can be on it or you can have someone else shoot it. And we just use whatever performs better. So I like to take all, anything I do, it's got to be high ROI, high effort, revenue for time, right? So if someone else performs better than me, we'll use that. Right now, I think I'm on most of the videos. which is comical because like pre-COVID, when I was golfing out a lot, people would stop me all the time. They'd be like, "Yo, you're
I
selling
recognize you.
I'm like, "Oh no, I'm famous now."
You're a
And they were like
celebrity.
snapping. They would snap photos of me at the course. I'm like, "Oh God, I don't want this." And everyone thinks I'm really good at golf, and then they see me play, and they're like, "Man, I thought you were good."
What's
That's
your handicap?
I'm not that good. I think the last round I have been getting better, but I shot an 81 last week, so that's good for me.
Yeah.
But everyone thinks I'm scratched and stuff. But yeah, so we really use the data, and I try to get myself more and more out of like the day to day. So let's shoot a video based on what you think will work best in ads. I'll approve it if it's on brand,
Yeah.
and we'll run with it.
Yeah, so I work with a brand called Dip Your Car, and they're like
Okay.
a 10 million or so plus brand, and they're based out in Florida. So they built out the business from YouTube, and then
Nice.
it goes so YouTube awareness, and then everything paid is just an email just does the job for them. And we were running a test on email, and we were like, we used to just send normal emails, just normal, emails with product focused emails. And
Yep.
then, a penny dropped is like, everybody knows you on YouTube, Funzi. Why don't you just come in on your personalize everything? So we personalize the abandoned cart, personalize the welcome series, whereas him, anytime we're doing sales, we'll have like a video of him, and open rates, click rates, sales just went up.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
we do
they're
like
buying you, along with the product. They're buying you.
totally. Yeah, and like
It's a personal brand.
I kind of was shying away from that, but like it's super effective. I mean,
Yeah,
especially like email, every email is from me as the founder. And that's like one of the first things we do with email. It's like it's
yeah,
coming from a brand.
yeah.
We try to assign a person to be the face of that brand.
Mm.
Because I mean, it is a story, and my story is kind of crazy, and people can relate to that. And that's how it's, at least for us, and a lot of these direct consumer brands, that's how you're going to compete with major brands.
Exactly,
It's a
exactly,
story. And
exactly.
my story
After all,
doesn't do well with everyone, but it's
exactly. After all, if you look at the bigger brands, the Callaways, they're using other personalities, golfers that we all know, so
Mhm.
you'd be a disservice to your brand if you're not, front and center, which is fascinating in itself. Okay. Yeah, so let's talk about, do you have a top of funnel like content machine in a way? I know you dabbled into YouTube a few years ago, and sales were not that good, but do you have like a blog? How do you garner organic, what's your funnel like outside of paid? I think
This
that's a
is
better
like,
question.
it's funny you bring this up. This has been one of the like frustrating things for me over the last 4 years. So like I remember, I forget what year it was, 2016 or 17, when Facebook said pages are not going to get reach anymore, right? Like, because we used to have, I think it was like 80,000 people, and we would post. And I remember I would go Facebook Live. And I remember we did a Facebook Live, and we sent an email. And we had 10,000 people watching, and
Yeah,
it was like, it was just crazy. And we had like 50,000 shares at one point on
yeah,
one video. And it became this thing where it's like I spent so much time and effort building Facebook and making content for it, and then the reach just went, it was gone, right?
yeah.
And so now I look at it as like I just post to get engagement, and I probably don't spend as much time as I should on it. But I have a tough time validating or rationalizing all the time to make that content, because most of the stuff we do, to be candid, is for ads.
Okay.
The place where I engage the most is another secret, our owners group. So after you buy something from us, you get an email that says, "Hey, welcome to the team. Join our Facebook owners group."
Facebook group. Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
a owners only group. So we did
Yeah.
change it before. It was an open group. So I'll post in there new updates. I'll engage with guys, because that's like, I look at that as
Yeah.
a branding play and a lifetime value play. And
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of selling, but I just engage there.
Yeah.
So for me, that's like the highest, like the most return on my effort, I guess would be the
How,
word.
how do you quantify ROI? There's clearly ROI in a private Facebook group.
Yep.
There's just much more engagement, there, and personalization, and but how do you quantify? How do you actually quantify ROI? With email, you see the stats right there.
Totally.
Yeah.
This is why like our Facebook page, like we don't post a ton. And when we do, it's just like a picture that says, hey, how far is this? 112 yards, what club do you hit? And it gets a ton of engagement.
Yeah.
But like for me, it's like I'm also at the point with the business where it's pretty mature. It's been 8 years. We have a good customer base. We're growing. And like I also try to do stuff I like, so like that's most of what I do. I have filtered it out and outsourced it so much that it's all ROI. It's all what's my return ad spend. It's all what's my email percent of revenue. So there's very few things in the business that are romantic anymore, So like the owners group's the one place where it's like, all right, I'll spend a half hour in there in a day and just like talk to the guys and really just be thankful. Like, hey, I really appreciate you guys. Like, and I'll just like sometimes just write the word thank you, and people just freak out because I think that's our advantage is we're not big, right? And I can do these things where it's like they feel, they're a part of a movement.
Yeah.
I always want to make it bigger, but I can't complain with doing $7 million a year with 2 employees, and not working a ton. But it's like that's the one place where it's like a little fun for me still, and it doesn't feel like work, because like when I launched a golf company, I thought I like ended up hating golf.
Yeah.
Because it became work, what I mean?
Yeah.
So now I play golf and I don't bring my camera because before I was shooting the entire time, Facebook Live the whole time. So now I just play golf to play golf. The owners group, I post and comment without knowing if it's going to have a return on, revenue, ROI, ROE, whatever I'm calling it today. And just do things that are kind of fun, And then the other thing is like, I just am designing clubs and having crazy ideas that I wouldn't even think would sell well, but I just want to make the club. Like I made a club for myself that I didn't even know if anyone would want because it was just fun. So I'm trying to like do the things to run the business and then have some parts that are still special and that are just fun to do, because it turns into work after 8 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And are your clubs manufactured in the USA or?
No, so they're overseas. We attempted, I used to assemble them in the US, but they're all overseas. They come barcoded, labeled. That was actually one of the big pivots I made was we went from custom to,
mass.
Mass produced, but less options. And I was like, this is going to kill us. Everyone wants custom. And that skyrocketed us. That was like one of the best moves we did, not only from a scale standpoint, but from a customer conversion, because there was less questions. It was like 6 questions on the driver. Now it's add to cart,
How do you protect your IP?
I mean, anyone can rip off golf clubs. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it's going to happen. We already have some guys copying us, and it's the brand, you know what I mean? Like that's what it is. It's the only thing we're really building, and this is what I always say, our only asset is our email list and our customer list. So like that is the business.
We're going to go there very shortly. If Callaway was to approach you to sell, would you sell?
No.
Okay. All right, cool. Right. Let's talk about I don't even call it traffic anymore. I really look at it. Okay. Traffic to me is like the lowest denominator, and then you have an audience off the back of traffic that you're getting. So how many people are you talking to? How many people do you on your list? Do you own? How many contacts do you own?
It varies. I think we're up to 200,000, but it's really like the engaged list, and that's how the guys send it.
What's the percentage of the engaged from 200,000?
I should have asked my team. I honestly don't know because I'm not in it, and that's the beauty of when you pivot to owner. I'm out of it. But for example, we launched a bag the other day, and bags historically have not done well for us. And it was a new design. It was sexy, and people were hyped on it. And we sent only to one of our segments, the smallest one, the engaged list, and we sold out. And I was shocked because I thought we were going to send everyone with follow-ups, run ads to sell them.
Wow.
And it actually upset people because we didn't even get the email out to everyone. They said, I didn't have a chance to even see it. So to your answer, I don't know the exact numbers, but the people that are engaged are the most powerful.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. So, what kind of segments do you have? Do you work on like CLV? Do you have like low spenders? Do you have a VIP list? How do you segment?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's a lot of product based because we're really, I mean, we only have like 7 SKUs. You know what I mean? So it's like, I remember when Klaviyo first started, and it was just like, okay, we can actually segment out and send an offer to someone that didn't buy the driver. Because I remember I used to send in my emails, coupons can't be used on this, because I would send to someone that just bought the driver with the coupon. So it's definitely by product, and then it's engaged, and I'd honestly have to ask the team.
Okay.
Because I don't do any of that anymore. I'm so out of it. All I do is strategy.
We'll talk to your partner in ecom growers then. he should come on the show.
You should have him on for a technical side, because
what's his name?
Chris Pettit. He's
okay. All right.
Well, it's funny because like we set it up this way that he's in the weeds.
All right.
And I have a third party perspective. So every meeting we have, he tells me what's good or what's not, and then I can, because I'm so out of it, we can break it down and scale it up. And that's been honestly the best thing we did. It's just he's in, I'm out, and now he can say stuff that's not working, and we can build it out so much better, you know.
And that becomes real knowledge, to move things forward. I noticed that your most of your product, all your product pages have product videos. There's a black background. Is there a reason for that? There must be some science here. There must have split test.
You know what? We've been trying to push more towards premium. And when we started releasing the black editions, we have like special paint jobs we do. It actually is it's much more expensive to do that. It's allowed us to, it's more expensive, therefore we raised the price. But when we started launching them on black, conversion went up. I was shocked. We did it. I did it with a CRO guy, and like everyone's like, gotta be on plain white. Yeah. And these are one of those things where I have an idea, which are usually not good ideas, but I have the guys test them. And I was like, you know what? Let's try it. And it allowed me to also, and this is one struggle we have, is like, how do you know if it's really new, right? So like, that was an easy thing that we could do to show it's radically new. So every product is on white. We're launching 3.0 on black, black club on black, boom, it's instantly much different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know if we've been running that for a while. I don't know when we launch 4.0, we'll launch on dark gray or on green. We may do that. I haven't determined, but it was more an overall, a premium brand thing. It just looks sexier too, to be honest.
Okay, makes sense. And I also noticed that all of your videos are hosted on YouTube. Is that intentional for more organic traction?
Yeah, I mean, we always have done that, and it's just it's one of those hype things where, YouTube we went that route of just going, with all the content and me playing golf and doing all that. It didn't work. So now we just do what they want. When we make a product video, we just post it up on there. People get hyped about it, and we use it on the website. And it's just a small SEO play, and that is we've got like 8,500. It's not many. Yeah. But why not post on there?
Yeah. What app are you using for your multi-buy, the frequently bought together? It looks very familiar. It looks very much like
I think it's called frequently
Amazon.
Bought Together.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, that's worked well. That was one. I'm not a big app guy. Like my whole thing is less apps is better, because most of them seem to not work well or slow down the website. But that was one that has worked out well.
Okay, and I recall you were previously on BigCommerce, but I could see you on Shopify now.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the right move, to be honest.
Whoa.
Just being honest.
Right. Okay.
I made that move because BigCommerce prices were jumping. That's when they changed from, I forget what it was. It was based on your volume, and we were banging a lot of volume. And that was probably one of the most painful things I had done, was making the switch. And our conversion plummeted, honestly. We went from BigCommerce to Shopify.
Let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. Did you know that cloud-hosted e-commerce platforms like Shopify and BigCommerce do not provide automatic backups? Rewind steps in to protect Shopify and BigCommerce stores with automatic backups. Rewind is trusted by over 25,000 stores. Install Rewind and get to test it for free over 7 days. And to extend the 7-day trial to 30 days, head over to rewind.io, their website, and mention 2x eCommerce.
Now I'm too deep. I can't go back. But we ended up using cart hook for a while to have a single page because we had trained guys to do a single page on BigCommerce.
Yeah.
And Shopify has multi-page. Now it seemed to. Now I'm happy I'm on Shopify because it's easy to use. We can update it. It is, everyone's using it. But at the time, that was one of my years where I tried everything in the world, marketing. I switched. I had a ClickFunnels site. I had this. I had a Shopify site. I tried everything you've ever heard about, and a lot of it didn't move the needle.
There's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of noise. Everybody's hyping, putting their chest out, and sometimes we get derailed by numbers, by audience, by social proof, artificial social proof. Lots of mini cults, out there, on platforms. Anyway, I digress.
I can agree.
It's interesting, and then over the years, your reviews have been have accumulated. Do you use your reviews on Google, your Google listings? Because I notice it gives your Google particularly shopping an uplift.
We don't, and that is one of the downfalls with our review widget. We are contemplating a new one because Google is becoming a bigger player for us. Before it was such a small percent, but I guess Okendo, which is a newer one, they have that option. So we may try that, but what I'm going to do is have the CRO guy, we'll do a test and see how it goes.
Okay.
But yeah, that's probably with Google being bigger. If we're going to do it, we got to do it right.
Yeah. What are you doing? What are you using now?
Judge.me, and it's been great. I mean, it's super light. Their service is unbelievable. Anytime we've had an issue, we ping them. They message us in a minute. Okay. So I've been very impressed with them, and it's very affordable.
Okay. There is a platform, like a one-click checkout platform for Shopify now. One page, sorry, I think it's called Malomo.
Okay.
I think, or no, it's not one. It's like steps. It's like it has like a progress indicator bar. It has the traditional Magento style. Checkout. But I hear they're well funded and it might be worth checking out.
Okay. Yeah, I used Cart Hook for a while, and I forget why. I think they are stopping that product and moving to a one post-purchase upsell app. But that was one workaround we had for a while because the original Shopify checkout. I don't know if it was a function of the ads not working as well because we had switched ad guys. There was a lot of things I had tested. But right now we're on standard Shopify for the checkout.
Is it working?
And it's working great. So, I mean, I think there was a lot of things I was doing. This is when I was working a lot and not doing, working a lot on things that didn't really matter,
Yeah. Cart Hook, they have to pivot. Shopify is not really liking third-party, checkout solutions because they make a lot of money in checkout anyway.
Totally.
That's where they make them the major funds. Okay. Over the last, how was COVID? How did COVID treat you? When COVID started in March, what was the initial impact, and how have you panned out now in October?
You know what? It's probably the best thing that's happened to us. I mean, I hate to say a global pandemic is a good thing for business. I mean, for my mental sanity, it's probably not good. But it was good. Golf's trending, for the first time in a long time, golf is trending. I made the mistake when COVID first hit, I had a massive order pending with our manufacturer, and I cut it in 70%. I was I wanted to be conservative, so I didn't know what it meant. I literally was scared. I was I don't know if anyone's going to buy golf clubs. And so that when that big order came or smaller order came, it was May, we sold out in 2 weeks. And that was supposed to be my big stocking order. So this year I probably lost out. I had sold out 4 times. I just was sold out for almost a month. So I probably lost out on a couple million in revenue this year based on, because none of my historicals made any sense. So right now I'm actually pushing to have a massive order for 2021 because golf's trending, e-commerce is bigger than ever in golf. And then for the agency, it's been really kind of crazy to see because more people are getting into e-commerce than ever before. We've had some clients that were doing great volume, $1 million a month, that are now doing 20 million a month. And just crazy.
What verticals?
I don't know if I could say food delivery to your door.
Well, okay.
So like we had a few clients that had like temporary dips, and some of them, like if you're in travel, they were getting smashed. But for most everyone, it was like really bad at first. Everyone was freaked out, but then everyone was on their phones, and they still are. And it's just, I never saw it coming. So I was slow to accept that golf is trending and that like I need to order more, because I just kept waiting for stuff to fall and break. And then the agency side, we're seeing revenue numbers that from some clients that I didn't even know that was possible, because it's just the market's it's exploding. So it's good from that side. That's why I keep saying business is good, and just trying to keep the kids sane and everyone. And
Fantastic.
Personal.
What you doing Black Friday, Q4? How has it been historically over the last 3, 4, 5 years? What has it been your best quarter?
No,
Or
we're not a Q4 company, and like what I used to do, like one of my big pivots mentally was, when it's off season, let it be off season. Like
okay,
3 years ago, if it was off season, meaning September, October, don't count Black Friday, December, January, February, like that would be off season. I would go crazy on offers. I would do deals that were so insane just to stimulate revenue. And that really hurt us in season.
Yeah.
Because guys were like, no, I want to buy it at the price you offered on Black Friday.
Exactly.
So for this year, we have set a threshold on prices. We're not going low. We're just not going to do it. But I am launching new products. So my answer to Black Friday, Cyber Monday was, we're historically we will have a big month in November. But it's not going to be as big as summer. Our summer is far bigger.
Yeah.
So we're going to launch 2 new products for like literally the week. And that's going to be we're going to give it a go. And if it doesn't do well, the guys will be hyped for it in season,
Yeah.
But I'm not doing this slash and burn crazy deals unless there's like a product that just didn't move well, but we don't have that problem right now.
And also margins, think about margins, margins, you lose a lot of margin, over this period. And as you said, it's understanding the seasons and cash flow, really managing cash flow, inventory and all of that. I get it. Again, fascinating, really, really fascinating. I'm really enjoying this conversation. Okay. So what is the outlook? What do you think is the outlook for e-commerce, in the next year? Where do you think we will be this time next year?
This conversation's come up a lot. I mean, so many pieces to it. I think specifically, I think e-commerce changed forever. I think we fast forwarded 5 to 10 years. I think people that would not have bought online are now 100% comfortable buying online. I do think if everything goes back to quote unquote normal, retail may have a small bump up, but I don't think it's going to ever be what it was, right? So I'm trying to look at it as an opportunity to scale and push as hard as we can. Specifically with golf trending, will people golf next year if life is normal? I don't know if as many people get into golf or stay golfing, but I'm looking as I'm going to order more than I normally would. And I can't predict the future, but I got to have enough product to sell.
It will sell, it will sell.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. I think we should do a lightning round. So lightning round, basically, I'm going to ask you about 4, 5, 5, 6 questions. And if you could use a single sentence to answer every one of them, you'd have passed.
Oof. All right. I'll do my best.
All right. Okay. First things first, how do you hire people?
I hire people. Like leadership?
How do you hire people?
How do I hire people? Not well. Honestly, all right, here's my best answer. I vet them by paying them for 1 hour of their time.
Okay, you test them first. Okay.
Yep.
What advice would you give yourself 5 years ago?
I would give advice, but I'm not going to listen. It's not going to happen.
What's your daily morning routine?
So I'm with the kids, get them ready for school, have breakfast with them, leave the house at 8:30. I come to my new office, I work out for an hour, and then I'm doing interviews for another hour, and then work out again.
Awesome. Okay. So, okay, all right. What are your 3 indispensable tools for managing your business?
Basecamp, Zoom, and Facebook Workplace.
Okay, awesome. What's been your best mistake to date? By that, I mean a setback that has given you the biggest feedback.
I've made so many. Biggest mistake. That was good.
Your best mistake.
My best mistake. I don't know if it was a mistake, but I think when we just decided, I don't think I have a mistake that was good. No, I think putting myself on camera
Right.
out of necessity was not a mistake per se, but it was just necessity, and it all worked out.
Fantastic. And if you could choose a single book or resource that has made the highest impact on how you view building a business and growth, what would it be?
Oh man, I just read it. It's a Michael Gerber book. What is it called? E-Myth.
E-Myth. Yeah, E-Myth.
Great book.
Tyler, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. So for those who have stuck to the end, catch him on ecomgrower.com and Bombtech Golf. I'm glad we made it. We finally got to speak.
We did it. This is the new normal. I'm glad to be here. So thank you for having me.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.